Yep, so I have cancer. Um, I do want to start off by saying this video is partially scripted. I did record it entirely through script before, and it's safe to say I'm not a very good voice actor, so I want to redo it and just make sure I give it the justice that it deserves, and it doesn't sound like I'm being held hostage telling you my story, because that's really not how it is. Um, So, I have cancer. Uh, I've had it for like 5 or 6 years, at least since I was 12 years old. And I have a rare form. It's called sclerosing epithelioid fibrosarcoma. Yeah, I don't like that took me like 10 tries to pronounce, but that's what it is. Very rare. Some sources saying that there's like 100 or 150 people like who've ever had it ever, or something like that. And some people are just saying it's so rare that we literally don't know how many people have it. So, uh, pretty unlucky of me to have it. But let's get into the story though. So one day, 12-year-old me just chilling around my birthday. I kind of like looked in my face, like I was just in the mirror just looking, and I was like, "Yo, like my chin, like the right side of my chin, kind of looks a little swollen. Like this looks a little weird." And I was like, it's probably nothing. Like it was like a noticeable bump to me. And if like if you're looking at yourself all the time, like it's kind of hard to tell differences between yourself, because you're just looking at yourself all day. But it's like I definitely noticed. I was like, yeah, bro, there's something wrong with my face. But I didn't really think much of it. I think my environment at the time kind of like bought into that. And when it comes to like having weakness or vulnerability, like you don't really want to show that, and like every little pain or whatever, it's like something you brush off, and it's like, it's nothing. Like people would always tell me, oh, you're being dramatic, or it's just get over it, bro. And at that time, at young 12 year old, at young brain at 12 years old, uh I kind of just brushed off this thing, and I was like, yeah, bro, like it's probably nothing, like it's whatever. But eventually it kind of grew into something that was a little noticeable, at least to other people. So now my family was like, yo, uh, you got a little bump there, like we see it too. But I think I'm not sure if they really, I can't remember if they really assumed if it was like some type of mouth sore or like a tooth infection or something like minuscule. Um, but we ended up going to the dentist. I'm not really sure if it was like a checkup or if we individually like booked the appointment with them. But either way, we were at the dentist, and we got an X-ray like of my teeth and stuff. And the dentist like pulls my mom out of the room. Like this is from her perspective because I either don't remember it at all or I didn't think much of it. So my dentist pulls my mom out of the room, and like I'm looking at the X-ray while they're talking, but obviously I can't hear them because they're outside of the room. He's like, "Yo, I'm just a dentist, but like this kind of looks like cancer. Like you need to go and see a specialist." And at this time, I didn't know anything, and I think my mom uh kind of just didn't want to tell me because I mean it's kind of scary. Like imagine just going to the dentist and then coming home and you're like, "Damn, my son has cancer." Like that's scary, and obviously the dentist didn't seem too sure, so I don't think it was really safe to like just put it out there if it wasn't 100% sure. So good on her for not really telling me right away, because that would have petrified me, bro. um Anyway, we went to go see the specialist and get some scans and stuff. And at this point they're also unsure what it is. They're kind of narrowing it down. Like it is a tumor, but they were like, is it benign, which means it's non-cancerous, or uh, is it cancerous? Like they were kind of lost on what exactly it was. So they wanted to get a biopsy. But like the way the tumor was growing, like in my jaw. Like I mentioned, it was on my chin. My type of cancer grows in soft tissue, which is like muscle, or hard tissue, which is like bone. So it was growing on the right side of my chin, and like once we got the scans, we saw like it was actually in my jaw. So it was like stretching my jaw like vertically. Like it was, I mean, it was growing every way, like horizontally and vertically, but it was stretching it vertically to the point where it was like my jaw was getting thin on the sides, and like eating anything hard at any point could like just go ahead and snap my jaw right there. Like I remember I was trying to eat some pretzels, and my mom was like, "Oh, the doctor said like don't eat anything hard on that side, or you could break your jaw." I'm like, "Damn, even a pretzel like that kind of." I was like, "Damn, bro, like there's no way, like a pretzel's gonna break my jaw. There's no way, bro." But anyway, back to back to the main point. We were getting the biopsy, like we booked the appointment to get the biopsy, which is like it's like you cut out a small piece of tissue to bring back to the labs for testing. Um, so it's a minor surgery, but it was pretty essential to like know what this was. Um, but once they got the results back, actually, like before we even 100% knew the results, they were like, "Yo, we need to get into surgery right now." Like they were not playing. Like we got into surgery in I don't even know like a couple of days or something. Like they as soon as I recovered from the biopsy, they were like, "We need to go into surgery now." This surgery is my main surgery, the one you probably noticed the most. One from like my lisp and also my scar. Um, this surgery was 14 hours on the table, and it was pretty crazy. Not gonna lie. um, let me like just simplify it for you. So basically, they took the infected like bone, um, and they cut it out, like with the tumor in and all. Cut the bone out, um, and then they took my fibula, which is like a supporting. It's kind of like a supporting beam to your shin. Like I'll show you a little picture. It's that bone right there. Um, so you like they took that out, they cut that out, and they kind of like reconstructed my face with that. Like that's my new jaw. They used that leg part to make my new jaw, and obviously they pulled out the teeth on top because they couldn't risk any like cancer spreading to any nearby like tissue or whatever. And obviously your teeth are kind of like rooted into your jaw, so they took those out of there. um and like I walked out of the surgery technically like okay. you know like actually the surgery went amazing, like it went better than they expected. And I recovered really well. I'll get more into that later, but it was definitely taxing on my body, like it was super crazy. um Waking up, I actually got sick during the surgery. Like I don't know, I got like some type of like I don't know, I got some type of bacteria or some shit. I got some weird stuff on my body once I woke up. So like I was obviously I had a lot of healing to do. Um, and I couldn't eat, I couldn't speak for about like 2 weeks. Uh, I mean at least like, and I was staying in the hospital for 2 weeks, and like just regaining the basic ability to eat, speak, and walk and whatever. Like it was super hard. At least one out of the 2 weeks I wasn't walking. So I had to relearn entirely, like through muscle memory, how to walk. And I was breathing through a tube in my throat. Uh, I'll probably show you some pictures. Sorry about that. um, and I was eating through like a tube in my nose, and it would kind of just pour like food, like liquid food through my nose, and that's how I would eat. Uh, it was kind of nasty, but it was kind of convenient at the same time. I mean, obviously, I missed regular food because I lost so much weight. I lost like 10 to 15 pounds or something, and I was already a skinny kid. Um, at this time I was like 13, like freshly 13. because this was in January or February or something, and I first noticed this stuff actually around my birthday in November. But anyway, more into the recovery stuff. Let me just go through my script here. Uh, you know, I had a hard cast on my leg. Obviously, if you have a bone taken from your leg, can't really just be walking around dilly dallying and shit. Um, so that kind of sucked. It really hurt when I tried to put pressure, and I was like, I was concerned if I would like walk for a while, but they insured me. If they insured me, like once I was done, like I would be walking okay. Um, but then again, like my healing situation was very like it was something like a miracle. Like I don't think they even expected me to fully like recover the way I did. But anyway, um, breathing was really hard. I had a lot of fluid in my lungs because I was sick, and like just breathing through a tube is really weird. And I couldn't speak. I actually physically couldn't speak because um, in order to breathe through the tube at first, you kind of have to like it's like a plug. It's like a hole. So they have like this tube thing, and then there's like a hole in the tube. Um, at first, like my muscles weren't healed enough to like plug the hole so I could just talk normally and it would function like as a regular throat. So I had to breathe through the tube, and that means any sound that I make is just going straight out the tube and not through my mouth. So it wasn't really being projected. So yeah, I remember I had to talk to like my mom and stuff through a whiteboard, and obviously like my mom and my dad, my parent, like my family, kind of stayed around with me through the whole process, which I'm grateful for. Um, I mean, it was COVID, so it was actually one visitor. It was restricted to only one visitor per patient. So I like people literally had to like take shifts. Like my mom would take a shift, my dad would take a shift, and then my sisters would come sometimes. Um, but yeah, like they kind of watched me like heal, and honestly, I was a pretty stubborn patient. Like I didn't really want to get up because I was in a lot of pain. And obviously, if you're 13 and you're in bed all day, like you're just chilling. Like I had an Xbox in there, uh, and I was just chilling on my Xbox instead of trying to walk and stuff. But once we got up and walked and took laps around the hospital, I was regaining my strength, and I was gaining weight. I was able to eat more. Uh, like the hospital wasn't all bad, but obviously it came with a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. But once I got home, obviously started to recover. All my scars had healed, um, and my leg was functional enough to where I could walk on it. And I had a boot, like I had a protective boot. It wasn't a hard cast like in the hospital, but it was there. It was a boot. Like I wasn't walking around just with my leg. But like it was easier. Things are getting easier. Uh, I actually missed like about a month of school because it's like all the surgery and all the recovery and whatever, and I was still in the boot. So, I was exempt from all the work I missed. I missed a month of eighth grade. So honestly, it wasn't really that important. Like it could have been a lot worse, but I came back and they were like, ah, don't worry about the work, bro. Like you're good. And I appreciate that. I didn't really expect people to like care that I was gone though. Like I missed a month, and all I was thinking is like when I come back to school, I was thinking like, damn, bro, like I'm just gonna go back normal. Like it's not really a big deal. Like whatever. Like I actually didn't know I had cancer until I actually recovered. Like I was in the hospital and they came in, and they were like, "Yo, so you ended up having cancer," and they started telling me all this and this and that, and I'm like, "Oh word, well at least it's gone." Like I remember the horror on my mom's face when I said that, and like it didn't really click with me because it was already gone. Like it didn't affect me anymore like actively. So I was like, yeah, okay. Like at least I don't have it anymore, so it's not really a big deal. So I came back to school and I kind of just acted normal, and I was kind of surprised to for how many people to come up to me and be like, "Yo, like where you been? Like, are you okay? Like, why do you have that boot on? Why do you have a scar? This and this and that." And I was like, "Whoa, like people actually care." Like, in in eighth grade, I didn't really have any friends, or if I had friends, they were kind of like the quote unquote weird kids. So I wasn't exactly popular or whatever. At times I would get teased or whatever, but like I didn't really expect people to notice or care because I thought people didn't care. Like I thought I was kind of insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Um, so me leaving and like recovering and coming back, all of this would just be like regular shit to them, and I didn't really think that it would matter to any extent. But it definitely did. Like a lot of people came up to me, a lot of people like people that didn't like me, people that did like me, people that were cool with me, people who didn't know who I was, like come up and ask and stuff. And like it was a little eye opening, especially since like I ended up making my final project. Like I don't know if you guys have this, but where I live, we have like this final project for eighth grade, and it's kind of like a quote unquote make an impact project. Um, so like you kind of have to just find a subject and inform people about it, like about a problem, and then show how you're gonna make an impact to like try and change it. I kind of did like my health. Like I just made it about my cancer and how like informing people about it, telling people about my experience, and then showing people like how I would change or like bring awareness or whatever, all that stuff. So uh, I ended up doing that, and my wave impact is just to give out free yellow ribbons for everyone to wear. And this was like last project, so everyone would wear it for graduation, and I didn't really expect a lot of people to do it. It was me and my English teacher's idea. Shout out to my English teacher. Thank you, because she actually ordered the ribbons, and she paid for them. She was like, "Ah, nah, don't worry about it." I mean, obviously it's like $30. Like it's not anything crazy, but it was really the gesture that counted. Um, but yeah, like I was kind of shocked to walk out graduation, and everyone was wearing a ribbon. Like some kids that were bullying me, some kids who liked me, some kids I didn't know, like parents, their parents, like teachers I didn't know, some teachers that didn't like me, like everyone, the principal, like it was every singular person, and I was like, damn, like I actually like have an impact, like I actually matter, like that kind of opened my eyes to um just like the warmness of a community, and I didn't really understand that before because I had been so isolated, like during my younger years, like whether I was bullied or whether I was just ignored. I didn't really have much of a presence. Uh, you know, either like at school or honestly at home sometimes. So like it meant a lot to me that everyone was wearing that, and I actually got a principal award from the school. Not obviously not the greatest highlight of my life, but it's something that holds weight to me because it was the first like uh it was the first like gesture to me that showed me that I really matter and that I can really make an impact in the community. I was cancer free after graduation, like after my surgery, and I was cancer free for a while. Like it was looking a lot more positive. I was heading into freshman year. Like obviously this is where like all the puberty stuff goes into. Like I'm growing into my body, blah blah blah, whatever. Like it was a clean slate. Like no one really knew each other. Like a lot of people from a lot of different schools getting into a big high school. Uh, like it seemed cool. Like I was making friends. Like everything was coming along easy. and it was like, it was looking like life didn't have to be depressing. Like, as a kid, I was a very pessimistic kid. Um, I didn't like I was very alone, and honestly, like I thought about a couple times of just putting an end to it. But like actually being cancer free and heading into freshman year, it was a good experience. I thought like life didn't have to be all bad, and even though I had this terrible thing happen to me, like I was a little insecure, obviously, because like how much it really changed my body. But at the end of the day, I was still happy that I was just alive and kicking it and just chilling. But that didn't last very long because my cancer came back. We went to another like monthly scan, like a routinely scan. It was like every 3 months or something like that. Um, and yeah, like the cancer came back. It came back in my lungs this time, and it was kind of just small, scattered like specks in my lungs. Uh, and yeah, like those 6 months of being cancer free was down the drain. Unfortunately, it was about 6 months, something like that. But it was over the summer and a couple of months into freshman year, and it was all gone. Um, it's pretty common for cancer, at least my type, to come back in the lungs. Um, I think like I might be wrong, but some statistic was like 50% of patients with this cancer have cancer come back at least in the lungs. Um, I don't know if that's true. I'm not trying to give you numbers, honestly, but yeah. So it did come back. This is the first time it really like sat with me because this is the first time I had cancer actively, like while like I knew I had cancer while I had it, and that made it a lot more heavy, and all it like kind of just threw me for a loop. Obviously, I cried. Like I try to keep really strong, or quote unquote strong, for everyone, and like I was just powering through the recovery and powering through everything, and I was like, yeah, I don't need all this praise. But obviously, get hearing this, like I cried. But I still was trying to put on the strong front. I was like, yeah, we'll just beat it again. We'll just beat it again. Um, but it's a lot different this time. So one, we got a biopsy to confirm again if it was this type of the same type of cancer, if it was just like another mutation. Um, so it was the same type that was in my jaw before, which is fine, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it would have been worse if it was a mutation or not, but either way, that's what it was. And we kind of started chemotherapy, and they weren't really sure if it would work because, the little research that's been done on my cancer has shown that chemotherapy is not very effective against it. And honestly, the best option would be surgery, but that was impossible because it was so many little dots in my lungs that if we did surgery, like I don't even think it's possible. Like I don't think I could survive while having that surgery. It would take too much out of my body. This is also again around COVID time, my freshman year of high school. I was, I don't know, 14. So COVID kind of affected how often I could get treatments and all that. Like, I got COVID a couple times during treatment actually, which actually wasn't that bad. Like it sounds bad, but it honestly felt like a common cold. But just wanted to mention that like COVID was really annoying during this time because it set like so many restrictions and I had to get tests and like I couldn't go outside and like you guys experienced COVID, but I also being immunocompromised, which means like my immune system is weak, and I can't really be taking risk like that. Like getting COVID during uh, this time was like super scary. They were like, "Oh shit!" Like he has COVID, da, 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 da. And I was like, I'm chilling, gang. Like honestly, I think part of it was me being 14 and just being a strong, healthy kid for the most part. But yeah, they were like, yo, like you need to get tested like every 2 seconds, and all of that stuff, which was pretty annoying. But I got through it. Chemotherapy. I'm sure you've heard some type of like narrative about it, and honestly, it's mostly true. Like you're sick all the time, you got nausea, dizziness, whatever, vomiting. Vomiting is the worst part for sure. Um, and I was just going through the motions, like just hoping it would get better, like not really thinking about it too much. Like we were isolated, we were in our houses all the time. Like I'm just on the game all the time, using it as an outlet to just forget about all the big things in the world. Um, and I just remember one time I was playing, like uh, just probably the Fortnite or some dumb shit. Like I don't know. It was freshman year of high school. I'm pretty sure Fortnite was still big, but I was playing and my mom comes in my room and she's like, uh, "Your hair is like dead," and I'm like, "Nah, nah, nah." Like, what are you talking about? Like at this time, I had I had the OBJ Lamelo Ball, like high top with the blonde tips. Like unfortunately, as I say it now, but I took a lot of pride in my hair back then, um, and like my mom was telling me like, oh, it's dead. Like you should go shower, and I'm like, nah, it's not dead. Like I don't know what you're talking about, and I was kind of in denial, because I knew it was dead. Like I would scratch my head sometimes or like rub my eyebrow, and like a little more hair than a more normal amount would come out, and I knew it was like something wrong, but I didn't want to confront it. I didn't want to admit it. But eventually, after I finished playing the game, I was like, all right, like let me just go shower, and I went to wash my hair, and I didn't think much of it. Like I was like, nah, there's no way it's gone. Um, but as I was scrubbing and shampooing and brushing, like I started to notice like clumps of hair coming out. Like I would just run my hand through my hair and a enormous clump of hair would just come out. And obviously I didn't want to confront that at the moment, but it sucked. I was like I was just crying as I just I did the deed. I just kept brushing and kept like getting everything out, but my hair was falling out, and it wasn't just the hair on my head. It was every single piece of hair on my body. It was my eyebrows, it was my eyelashes, it was my mustache, the little mustache that I had at 14 years old. It was my arm and leg hair. It was everything. I was completely bald, and this made me feel just like complete, like so weak and vulnerable, and like this is definitely one of the times where I cried the hardest, just because like I don't know, like everything else, having cancer doesn't really hit, uh like it's a lot of waiting around. Like it doesn't hit all at once. Like it's kind of like you get a diagnosis, it's like boom, okay, that sucks for a while, but then you get used to it. But like just getting those like once in a while like random jabs, it's like, oh, like damn, that shit sucks. And obviously being 14, already insecure because of my surgeries and stuff, being completely bald really really hurt me. And my mom was like, all right, you don't have to go to school tomorrow. You just go to the barber and like cut the rest of it off, because it didn't completely die off, but it died to the point where I knew I was going to be bald. And so yeah, like my grandma took me the next day, uh, to cut off the rest of my hair, and fully embrace the baldness. Uh, what's it called? Yeah, the barber actually did it for free. So shout out to that barber. Appreciate you. I'm pretty sure my grandma told him like everything, which is probably not what I wanted at the time. But I was too focused on just I don't even know. Like I was just lost. I was still going to school, so going to school while trying to hide quite literally everything about your face is so hard. Like I was wearing hats, I was wearing hoodies, I was wearing masks, but like I couldn't completely conceal the fact that I was bald, and it just sucked. Like I had people asking me, and they like I'm sure they noticed all the time, because like you can put on all the bullshit you have on your head, but eventually someone's gonna peep. Oh, this kid doesn't have eyebrows, or oh, this kid doesn't have eyelashes, and just like walking around feeling like all eyes are on me at all times just sucked. Obviously, yeah, people asking me, like my friends asking me, I had to tell them. Some of my friends asked and they didn't even know I had cancer until I lost like all of that. And because I feel like my cancer doesn't really encapsulate my entire life. I never carried it that way, so some people didn't know, and I think just being bald kind of made it obvious to some point, and I was getting a lot of respectful but also disrespectful like encounters when with that. Some people would just come up to me and just respectfully ask, "Oh, like what happened to your neck or what happened to your head or whatever," and I was like, "Ah, I have cancer," and they would just lay off. But some people would be like, "Yo, why do you look like that?" or da 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 da. And like obviously at 14, I like I didn't take that too well. I wouldn't get aggressive or anything, but I would definitely just get sad and just kind of feel judged and like not good enough in other people's eyes or whatever. And this is like kind of when my mental health started to deteriorate more. Um, and I was like pretty frustrated, uh, just with everything. Like my self esteem was all time low, and like chemotherapy, just being sick and tired all the time, it just like made life kind of seem like it was ass. Like I turned to other things to try and like outlet my emotions, like basketball or art or writing music or whatever. Um, but like these things became harder and harder the more I got sick. Basketball I was getting too tired to play. Art I was getting unmotivated, and writing music I was losing confidence, and I was just I couldn't find any fun in anything that I did, and it was really hard to just keep moving on as a 14-year-old. And like I kind of like I never really felt connected to God when I was growing up, or at least not consistently. But it was you know it was hard to really it was hard to feel connected when I was in so much pain and turmoil, and like it just really weighed on me, and I was really upset with him. Uh, actually, like uh, we got another scan, another monthly scan, whatever, and it turns out I had a tumor growing in the neck again, uh, and the chemo like didn't seem to be working. So this like just tipped me over the edge with God, and I was really upset. Um, you know, like misunderstood him a lot. Like I thanked him for everything. Like whenever a good thing would happen, I would always thank him. But I would like if things were neutrally happening or bad things were happening, I was always blaming him, or I was always focused on that. Every problem and struggle that I had, like what I talked about growing up, like I I resented him for that, and I was angry, and I was always questioning his methods. And like obviously me having cancer didn't really help this mindset that I had. I asked a lot, like, oh, why me? Like, why me, a 13-year-old boy? Like I haven't even lived my life yet, and like why do I have to be faced with death? Why does this disease have to be in my body? Like, don't I deserve a chance at life like everyone else? And like sometimes I would ask these questions, and my mom would be like, well, like it could be a lot worse, and like you could be dead, or you could have it a lot worse. And then I responded with, well, what about those people? What about they don't like don't they deserve a life like, everyone else? And I didn't really understand God's methods or anything. Um, but I wasn't appreciative of him, and like he saved me. Honestly, like he saved me with that surgery. Of course, all blessings to the doctors and all the people involved with keeping me alive right now. But obviously, like this is his work too. Um, and like I wasn't appreciative of that, and like I was focused on how insecure I was, like because of my body, and I was focused on how I got cancer again instead of, when I was cancer free, or, like all that stuff. And I had a different belief about him, and I thought he was responsible for everything, like good and bad, and that he would bless people, but he would also curse people. And I feel like that's a little skewed, and like not what I believe now, but that's just an insight of what I believe at the moment. My friend, I'll keep his name private, in order to, like, so people don't like come to my house or something. I don't know, man. I'm gonna keep his name private, but he gave me a lot of insight. He was supportive of me, and I really appreciate that. Like he answered a lot of the questions that I couldn't get a clear answer for, and he like reassured me, and like kept me on that path with God, and like he definitely introduced me into like the belief that I have now. um and like he just like took all the anger that I had from God, and he kind of like just informed me, like just simply informing me, like solved a lot of the questions I had, or they just put me at ease. And even though it was kind of hard to like grasp at first, it was definitely something, like a step in the right direction. Like it was a big thing for me, and I thank you for that. If I'm sure you know who you are if you're watching the video. But back to the main story though. So like my chemo wasn't working since the tumor grew in my neck, and we started to experiment with other things. So we tried something called like immunotherapy. Actually, let me break down chemotherapy. So chemotherapy, for those of you who don't know, uh, the way it works is just you kind of like implant, like you kind of just implant drugs, whether it's like oral or IV or whatever. Um, so you just put drugs in a person, and attack the drugs attack the bad cells, but also like in turn the good cells kind of get caught in the crossfires, and that's kind of what makes you sick and all those side effects and whatever. um so it was kind of like a more broad like attack, but immunotherapy is also drugs which go in your body, and they kind of, instead of attacking the bad cells, they make the good cells stronger. Like they go and reinforce and like boost the good cells, so the good cells can go and attack the bad cells. So basically it's chemotherapy, but instead of fighting everything, basically it's helping your body fight one thing. So it was a lot less taxing on my body in terms of like side effects. So I wasn't like up vomiting all the time, and like all the sickness and nausea and vomit, all the side effects that come with traditional chemotherapy. Wasn't really there with immunotherapy, but again, we weren't really sure if it was like gonna work. And this is us, just going out on a limb and just trying shit. Like we just had to go and just try and hope it'll work. And thankfully it did work. But there was no data on whether it would or not. But there was like literally no data, especially someone at my age, because the typical person who has this form of cancer is an adult. Like I think like bros, it's like something like 30 something, or I don't know. But obviously I was not 30 something, so they didn't really know if it would work. But thankfully it was working. Um, So I was, going to school regularly, and like I was starting to live a normal life again. Like my hair was growing back. Like aside from just being tired all the time, like that, being on immunotherapy was probably one of the best experiences in terms of cancer. Like, obviously not a great experience, but it was one of the better ones. And I could go to school regularly, and I would rarely miss school just for the appointment, but not for recovery. I didn't need to recover. Um, and this is, I'm moving into my sophomore year of high school, still growing, whatever. Uh, I was still a little insecure, but um, and still, like I was getting more positive, and I was getting more, uh, I was getting closer with God, not nearly as close as I am now, but it was a step forward, and things were looking better. And like as I'm moving into my sophomore year, like my tumors were getting better, and like things were looking up, and it was pretty good, like uh, you know, whatever high school stuff. Like I got a girlfriend, whatever, high school, whatever. That definitely eased my insecurities. And like I got a lot of friends because of her, and um, like super. I was just grateful for the time that like that all happened, because I had a good like strong foundation around me with my friends, and I also I had a strong foundation with her, and it definitely helped me cope with like just the fact that I had cancer at 14, 15. um and like it was becoming a routine that I could get used to, and it was okay. Like the school accommodated me. My grades were like almost perfect. Like I had like a, like looking back on it now, I think I had like a 3.8 or 7 GPA that year. It was tough. I like school was easy, but I mean tough, like TUFF, like you know what I mean. It was good. But I was healthier and whatever. But later on in the year, uh, we broke up. Obviously, high school shit. If you're watching this video, hi, I guess. Um, but yeah, like I'm not gonna touch on that too much. Like obviously, I was sad as any like high school kid would be. And my friends were kind of like leaving, or like just being weird, and like all the high school drama shit. But I was like kind of, I was mostly unbothered because I had a bigger meaning in life with like I didn't reside my entire like life in all the drama and friends and girlfriends and whatever. Like as long as I was like happy and getting better with the cancer thing, like I was chilling. um so the immunotherapy was working, but eventually it kind of like came to a halt, and instead of shrinking the tumors, it kind of just kept them stable. So it was a long time of just being like stable and just monitored and scanned and whatever. And like over time, like something kind of creeped in the back of my head, and I was like, is this just delaying my death? Like, is this just holding out until my options get thinner and I just like shrivel up and die? Um, I was asking God these questions, but I didn't really have a clear answer at the time. Um, but I was trying to stay positive, but it was hard. But he answered me pretty quickly. Not gonna lie. Like I don't know if like he was on his phone and like he already read it when I texted him, but yeah, he texted me real quick, and there was a new chemo to try. Um, you know, it was kind of more traditional, like the first one that I was on, where it would make me super sick and all that, and I actually would have to transfer it to a whole different state to take it. Like I was taking it in my state, and now I have to drive over to another state to get the treatment. But obviously it's worth it. And in the name of being alive, we wanted to take any measures. And yeah, so we kept fighting. Obviously it was hard because I was sick again. I was feeling lost, and like those existential thoughts in the back of my head were kind of just like falling over and just like starting. It was making a little more noise in my head, whether like if I was gonna survive or not, and like I was kind of just getting a little more doom and gloom. But I had a lot of support from my loved ones, for the ones that were there, for the ones like my friends and my family and all that. Uh, and this time I cut my hair, so I wasn't too insecure, but I was a little pessimistic. But yeah, I was getting a little tired of being sick all the time. I couldn't do any regular activities like as I wished I would. I was like an emotional mess, and I was kind of trying to like help everyone else while neglecting myself. Like I was kind of being a therapist to everyone else, but not really tending to my own needs. And I think I was trying to use that as a distraction to like just cope with everything. And just say like, oh, like I'm being useful and this and that. But in reality, I was just like hiding the fact that I needed help. Um, and this is the time where I really needed help. Um, and like I just was falling behind. Like I wanted to play basketball for my school, and I was sick all the time. So I couldn't keep up physically. Like I was getting tired, and two, I just didn't like have as much time as everyone else to work on my skills. Like I really had the work ethic, but it was only so much my body could do, and all the time that a regular person would have to work out or like work on your skills or whatever, like I was spending in the hospital or recovering from the hospital. So it sucked. Like I was starting to disconnect from like I guess feeling normal. So this was the kind of dark time for me. But yeah, I transferred back to my state to take another chemo. But it was kind of the same thing as the other one, so I was still sick all the time. But this is now going to my junior year of high school. Um, and this is kind of the first year I was sick for like basically the whole year. Um, I was taking chemo, radiation, whatever, but I'll get more into it in a little bit. But yeah, I was missing a lot of school. Like my grades were definitely starting to reflect it. Like I was pretty close to failing. Actually, at the end of the year, I had three D's, which is super unlike me. I've always been a very good student, honestly. Like I'm not trying to brag, but I've always had really good grades and all that. But like I was slipping and it was getting harder. It was the hardest year of high school, so I was slipping. It was getting harder to keep up with everyone else and just the pace of the classes and all that. I was trying to keep it up, but I really couldn't. At the end of the day, um, I was cracking under pressure, and like I think I did mentally too. Like I had so much emotional baggage, and I needed to like stop and just admit that I needed help, and I finally did, which was a big step for me because I'm very stubborn and I do not like to ask for help, at least not beyond surface level things. And I would rather just thug it out and do it myself. But I just couldn't anymore, and I asked my family for help, and I got like a little bit, but I think it was more important of me just saying that I needed help and not actually like getting help. Like I don't think the help mattered more than like just the step of me saying that I needed it. Um but yeah, like like this whole time, like I was kind of my family, even my family, my friends, like everyone around me, the nurses were kind of just painting me as like this strong, like indestructible trooper that was like, oh, like you're going through so much at a young age, like you're so strong and this and that, and like it was getting to a point where they kind of like were pushing me into like this Superman image, and like I was like a man of steel, and like nothing could could take me down. And it was like anytime I kind of like brought up a little bit of my struggle or a little bit of my negativity, it would just be like kind of brushed off because, oh, I was, I was the Man of Steel, I was Superman. And that kind of just like that took a toll on me. And at the end, like I just kind of announced pretty loudly, like pretty disrespectfully, honestly. And I was like, I'm not this like indestructible person. Like I'm human. I didn't cry much during this whole process, but obviously I cried at this moment. Um, I was telling them, like, I was like, crying is okay. This is hard to tell my dad because like, I don't know if you know, but like Hispanic parents, like they're like the toughest breed. Like they grow up and you just have to be mentally tough. And that kind of like my dad kind of did see me as that trooper, and he was like, kind of painting me to be Superman, and I was like, nah, like I'm not that. Like I'm not weak because I'm crying. Um, you know, like I'm not weak. Like I'm not strong. Like I am strong, but I'm not strong all the time. And I can't be strong all the time. And like I was telling him like crying that isn't being weak. It's just taking a break from being strong. And just all of this like breakdown and talking like this kind of helped me move forward. Like I let go of this like therapist like I gotta carry everyone else's weight thing. Like I just dropped that. And I started to care for myself more. Like obviously I was single, whatever, blah blah, high school. So it gave me a lot of time. Also, my friends were kind of doing whatever they were doing. Uh, I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you to this day, but you know, I was just I had a lot more time to focus on myself and really just repair all the damage that all these years of like resentment and all these years of like self like deprecation and just like all these emotions that have been piling up for so long just kind of spilled out at that moment. This time I was trying out for the basketball team. uh I wasn't really like I wasn't that good, and I knew like I probably wasn't really gonna make it. Like I had half hope, half not hope. But I was definitely like I was too sick to try out. Like I forced myself back way too early. Like I think I went to try out literally like the day after my last chemo session because it's like multiple days of sessions. So at the end of the week, like I just went and I was there and I was like I was dizzy, like I was tweaking out, like I was definitely not I wasn't good like I wasn't okay enough to be there. But I was pushing myself, I gave it everything, but at the end of the day, like I definitely wasn't confident enough. Like maybe I had the skill, but I wasn't confident. So like I went up and ended up making like low key a fool of myself. Like bro, like I must have turned the ball over like every single time I touched the ball. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, like I got cut obviously, so um I was heartbroken, but like my friends were like, "Yo, let's do a rec league," and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, why not? So that kind of it was really fun. Obviously, it wasn't very organized, but it was pretty fun to go play with my friends and just not really worry about all the pressures of playing school basketball or whatever. Um, and yeah, it was fun, and it kind of filled the hole of just not being able to play for my school. Um, but during the rec season, uh, the doctors were like, "Yo, the surgery came up, like uh, like we couldn't do it before because it was impossible. Like, we didn't have the resources and this and that we have now. But now we can do it. Like we should do it." And me and my mom were of course on board because we want to be cancer free. Like we're trying to get up out of here. So we were like, all right, bet. Um, it went better than expected, but I couldn't do any physical activity. It was to remove the tumors in my neck. Um, but yeah, it was like no physical activity for like a couple weeks or something like that. So I couldn't play a lot in the rec league, but it like at the end of the day, I was like, that's minuscule, like I'm just trying to be cancer free. Like, okay, boom, all those are out. I was thinking like, oh, it's just my lungs now. Like maybe, and those were stable too. So like I don't have anything. I don't have a lot to worry about now. So things were looking up. Whatever. Uh, Going into junior year or whatever, I switched on to chemo and immunotherapy a lot. But while we were playing in the rec league, it was preseason for lacrosse for my school, and my friend was like, "Yo, like we went out to eat one time, and he was like, "Yo, you should go, like you should come play lacrosse with me for my school, or for our school." And I was like, lacrosse? Like, I don't really know how to play lacrosse. Like, it looks kind of hard and this and that. My friend was like, nah, bro, it's mad easy. Just come and play. Just come and play. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. Like, why not, bro? Um, and, we went through the preseason training and all that stuff. And honestly, I had a lot of fun. Um, like, just trying the sport out and learning and stuff. And I was actually progressing pretty well. Um, Especially for a new player, like I was nice. And honestly, like aside from having cancer, like I'm pretty athletic. Like I'm pretty fast. Whatever, you could allude that to the color of my skin or whatever. But I was pretty fast, pretty shifty, whatever. I was pretty athletic. Um, so like along with me and all the other people kind of learning to play lacrosse, and for the team, because we didn't really have a lot of players that were experienced. They were kind of teaching a lot of people how to play, and I feel like I was kind of at the top of like the people who knew how to play, and also was like athletically gifted. So at first I was like, oh yeah, like this might be like I might play a lot. Like this might be fire. Like I was cooking in the first couple practices, and I was like, oh yeah, like I'm about to, I might start or something. Like I might be tough, right? Um, but opportunity came up, and it was another surgery, and it was to remove like one of my chest tumors, and this was big because it was like we didn't really have options for lung surgery before, and it was like, oh shit, like this is a big thing, like we should do it. It's kind of risky because it's near my heart, but obviously gotta do what we gotta do. Like if we can do it, we can do it. And I took the opportunity, um, and the recovery time was supposed to be like 2 to 3 weeks, and like I'll be in and out type shit. But yeah, that's kind of if they did it. They didn't end up going through with it because it was yeah, it was way too close to my heart and my major arteries, and going through would have just caused like unnecessary damage, or just like it could have killed me with the wrong move. So they ended up pulling out of the surgery. I guess they thought there was more space than they had. Like I don't know. I guess they thought they had more space than they really did. But yeah, they ended up needing to not go through the surgery. So still put me under. It was the last minute decision. So I woke up and I was like, uh, so y'all didn't do it. Like I literally like woke up, like took the gown off from my side, and I looked at my side and I was like, so you guys didn't do it. And I was obviously like woozy off the anesthesia and all that stuff, but I was like, I was so upset. I was questioning that nurse. I was like, she didn't even know what was really going on. She just knew that we couldn't do it because of like it was too risky. Um, so I was asking the nurse. I was like, why didn't you guys do it? Like what's wrong and this and that. And I was asking her a bunch of questions. She didn't know anything. So yeah, sorry to that nurse. Didn't mean to be disrespectful. I wasn't yelling at her, but I was definitely berating her with questions that she didn't know the answer to. So yeah. But the reason why they pulled out uh, was because it was too risky, but also because they found a blood clot near my lung. Like it was, I don't know, kind of. They didn't really explain it too clearly. It was like my lung slash chest slash heart. Like I don't really know what that means, but it was there, and I couldn't play sports for like I guess it was. I think it was like it was undefined at the time. Like I couldn't play sports, like no contact sports. I was definitely like devastated, obviously, because I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to play lacrosse, and I couldn't even touch the field. Like they told me if I get hit in the chest the wrong way, the tumor could break off and just go to go to my brain and kill me. So obviously I didn't want to die on the field. So I stayed away from basketball or lacrosse, and I couldn't even watch it. I couldn't even like anything. Like, I couldn't even cope with the fact that I couldn't play sports. So that sucked. Um, after like 2 months though, I got cleared. They were like, "Yeah, you're good to come back." At this point, the lacrosse season had already started, but I was on the team. Obviously, I practiced with the first couple of times with the team. Um, and I was in maybe like mid to back half of the season. And I was super rusty and I was super far behind. I was like, damn, like everyone got better than me, and I'm worse. Like it sucked. And I never really ended up catching up in skill in terms of everyone else. Even though I felt that I was like more athletic, like faster or shifty or whatever, like better body control with yeah, just better body control than my teammates. Like I'm not trying to shit on them, but honestly, I felt like I really had potential to be like pretty good. Um, but yeah, I just couldn't catch up in skill. Like I missed 2 months, and I hadn't touched a stick in those 2 months. So I definitely fell in the rotation. Like honestly, I barely played in the whole season. But I'm still grateful for my coaches and like my teammates and all that stuff. Like it was a super great experience to be on that team. Like, even though I didn't play as much, like just the culture and just being around the team was was everything to me. And it was the first time I was really on an organized team. But it was definitely an experience I would never take back, even if I couldn't play much. But it was like great team, great coaches, love them. Um, and but yeah, I just couldn't catch up. Even being on immunotherapy, I was just getting tired too quickly, and like it was just it was a mess. But after lacrosse ended, uh, life kind of just like sank down into a little more doom and gloom again. I was having like emotional trouble and outbursts because of like medications that I took for like side effects to help ease the side effects, like the nausea and the vomiting and whatever. And I was acting kind of out of character, and like it was a lot of drama. I mean, I don't think I really like outbursted on any of my friends or my family per se, but I was definitely like just a mess. Like I couldn't really control my emotions very well, and it was super unlike me because I'm usually very in control of my emotions. And school was like piling up again. This is junior year, it's super hard. I was barely passing like a lot of my classes. Um, and like this kind of just sucked. And then yeah. So I mentioned the the nausea and the vomiting. I actually switch onto radiation therapy, which is what's it called? Which is a therapy that kind of it's how it sounds. Like it's kind of just like a shot of radiation, like a beam of radiation into me, and it just kills the cells, like the cancer cells, but it also kills good cells. Um, so it's kind of like chemotherapy, but it's just radiation instead of drugs. Uh, so yeah, like that made me feel sick. Like that kind of had the same effect that chemotherapy would. So yeah, I was missing a lot more school. Wasn't passing a lot. Um, but at this point, I was just like just trying to power through the year. I was like, all right, bro, like just just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. Um, and like my friends were just kind of acting weird. Like this is kind of the end half of the year, and my friends were really like dispersing away. Uh, and Obviously I was still single, whatever, high school shit. Um, like I feel like the friends that I did have around, I was kind of acting as a therapist to them again, and just carrying their weight and like listening to them about everything that they needed to get out. But I didn't really speak up for my own emotions of what I needed from them, and that kind of turned into like a transactional type relationship, and uh, like I was just falling into the therapist friend thing again. But I mean, I did care for myself during this time. It wasn't like the previous time, but I definitely did like uh, carry too much of other people's shit. Like I needed to focus on mine, especially just again going through so much. But that was the end of my junior year. Going into my senior year, I was definitely still on some nauseating chemo. This is where I'm at now, my senior year of high school. Um, but being as prepared and emotionally stable and mature like as ever, this is yo, mom walked in during my recording again. This got to be like a meme now. But anyway, I don't know if I'm gonna keep that in. Uh, but going into my senior year, uh, definitely more prepared than ever than to keep fighting. Um, I think this is my most positive experience so far. Not trying to jinx anything, but the I was ready. I think, or I was as ready as I can be to keep fighting. At the end of junior year, like over the summer, I started going to like a church group, and my friend recommended me. Uh, and yeah, I thank him for that because like it was super life changing. It was the first time I was in like a holy like setting, and it didn't really feel like robotic or forced. It felt like I didn't feel like I had to be there because I had to be there. Like it wasn't a task. Um, and it felt like a real connection to God. It made him feel more reachable and just something I can actually connect to instead of like this far away messenger that controlled my life at will. Um, like it made him feel I guess more human, even though he's not human. Like I don't really know how to explain it, but it just it didn't feel like I was talking to a wall. And I there's a lot of life changing experiences I got through there. Like a lot of lessons I got through that group, and just like uh, so much I can't even explain fully. Um, I let out a lot of emotions there, and it just helped me cope with everything and moving forward. Letting go of like burdens or grudges, and just letting God guide you. Um, I always had this idea that God like forces and controls everything. Like if God wanted it this way, then he's gonna have it that way, and that's how it is. Um, but I think I kind of grew into this ideology that God like just gives us will to control ourselves. Like he still guides us in things that he thinks is in our best interest, or like the right thing to do, or things like that. But at the end of the day, we can choose to follow him, or we can choose to not follow him, and that gives it a lot more uh I guess just yeah humanness to it, because it makes it feel more genuine when you can choose to follow someone instead of being like chained and tied to them. and whatever they do is what you do. um like I think he offers like his connection, and if you stray away from him, you're probably going to be met with like resistance or like turmoil or things like that. But I think it's only because God just wants you to see that his path is the right path. um and I don't want to like force any, like my Christian beliefs onto you. But it's a big part of my life, and it's a big part of why I'm here. So I'm just appreciative of my friend who introduced me to that group, and just introduced me again to God, and just all the amazing things he's done for me, and just helping me realize everything. Um, and like for a long time, into my senior year, like I was kind of happy and just okay with how my life is. It's kind of simple. Uh, I mean, it's hard to say that it's simple because I've been living it for the past 5 or 6 years. Uh, like just the way it is. Um, but it's pretty simple, Like I go to school, I go to treatment, I do like the things I do for fun, and that's it. Um, you know, like I think I matured really quickly because of how much weight is on me. Like I have so much to deal with, I guess. In terms of having cancer. So like I just matured emotionally in a way that like is probably unseen in even an adult. Like I don't know. I'm not saying I'm more mature than an adult, but I have a different insight on life. Uh, just because like my life has been at risk for the past 5 or 6 years. So, you know, I've kind of found myself, and I found purpose and like confidence and just being alive. Like before I was diagnosed, as you heard, like I was very pessimistic. Like I thought life had no meaning and I was nothing, and that, I should just end it. But being close to death has made me appreciate just being alive, and like the privilege of just appreciating life like the way it is. You've heard me say this before, like I say it pretty much every video. But yeah, like that's kind of what fulfills me, just the ability to be able to just take in everything the way that I can, that I just appreciate to the fullest. Like, I have trust in God and his path. Like, um, I love this process. I love this process. I love myself in the process. All this turmoil that I've faced, whether it's cancer or socially or other things, I think has grown me into a person that I don't really want to give up. Like cancer has kind of just grown me into an old soul, giving me like kind of just like a fuck it we ball attitude, and I'm not really scared to like fail or fall on my ass. Like my time on earth is limited, so like why should I have to like suppress myself for other people, or why should I have to like fit into another person's box? Like, I can do anything, like literally anything. Like I know it's corny, whatever, but like simply I can just do anything that I want. Um and like I'm not gonna waste my time uh being scared of not, being scared of just like what is there even to be scared of? Um I think, yeah, like just being almost dead a lot is pretty like eye opening to just your potential, and I do want to feel it to its full itness. I don't want to leave the glass half empty. Um, so I just want to pour all the water that I can into the glass. I don't know, man, but you know, I just dropped all this burden stuff, all this Superman mentality, all of this like therapist friend mentality, like um, you know, it's still been hard. Like I can't lie. Like I'm still human, and it's still been hard. You know, for the most part of my senior year, I've been on traditional chemotherapy. So again, I've been sick. I've been vomiting. I've been, all of that stuff. And it's hard to stay positive when you're actively sick, and it's hard to keep going, especially transitioning into an adult. I kind of feel like it's hard to like find a balance of feeling productive and also feeling like fulfilled with just being alive. Because now I'm kind of finding all this time that I'm being sick and just sitting there and not doing much. Uh, like now my brain is programming into telling me like, oh, like you're wasting time. You're not being productive enough. You're not maximizing your time on Earth. And I think like I need to relax. Like as of writing this script, I'm pretty much improvising on the spot. But as of writing the script, I put in a part about like everything changing and falling apart and how I'm kind of like losing hope for everything. But um, I think it definitely does waver a lot with whether I'm sick at the moment or I'm not. As of right now, I'm pretty happy, pretty relaxed. But at the end of the day, I still have those creeping thoughts in the back, like, yo, like you need to do everything that you can because life is so limited, life's so limited, life's so limited. But like I think yeah, just I need to take time to recover. I need to take time to chill. Um, you know, like my energy is pretty low at the most part. Like I'm pretty sure you can tell in my videos. I'm trying to give you guys a little more liveliness, which is why I re-recorded the whole video. Because I don't want you to like. It sounds like I was speaking to a wall. Like it was bad. Um, but yeah, like just being young and dealing with so much. Uh, like I'm pretty low energy. You know, but there's some good things that's coming from this. I mean, obviously, I mentioned like I would never give up the person that it's made me, unless it meant I was healthy. But other than that, I'm not giving this up. Um, and like I got into some pretty good colleges with this this story. Um, you know, like it's pretty real and it was pretty easy to construct. Like quite literally, I wrote my college essay in maybe like 2 hours tops. Like all together, what comes to editing and writing. Because I just had to simply tell my life story from 5 years ago to now, and that's pretty much like in some like this is basically my college essay like verbalized. Um, so yeah, like it was obviously I'll give 90% credit to the story and all the cancer and all that. And I'll give 10% to my writing because my writing was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I got into some pretty good colleges with my essay, and like I've gotten a lot of support from my friends and family that I probably wouldn't have gotten if I wasn't sick, honestly. Um, but yeah, like things are still hard. Uh, like I do want to end it on a positive note, but at the end of the day, it's still actively happening, and it's still like just there's a lot of wavering, a lot of waiting around, and it's a lot of uncertainty. But I think I don't like I should stop trying to fill the void with just being productive and locked in and trying to maximize my time on Earth, because life isn't really like it isn't a task. Like it isn't something you have to complete at the end of the day before you go to sleep. I think it's like a long journey, uh, and you kind of gotta just like chill and enjoy it. And of course, like everyone has responsibilities. Like I have responsibilities. Before this video, I was grinding on homework because I have a lot of homework that I'm missing, and yeah, like I don't want to live my life like I need to be doing something all the time. Like I should be okay with just chilling sometimes. Especially being sick, I need to recover sometimes, and that's completely okay. And I think I need to work on that because my little like video thing before like my like triple upload, I was just up at like 1 a.m. editing and pumping videos out because it was like I don't know, like I had a certain urge, like I couldn't rest until I did a certain amount of work, and I wasn't satisfied with the work that I did. Um, but I think I need to just enjoy this, and I don't want to lose the love or the magic for this like content creation thing. So I'm gonna try and take it slow. Honestly, I'm probably gonna have another one soon out. Um, but like it's not something that I need to have on the back of my mind all the time. And I do love this thing, but I don't want this to consume my entire life. Uh, but yeah, like I think cancer has taught me a lot about life that I probably wouldn't know, or I would know a lot later. And like I have doubts sometimes, I have worries. Like sometimes, I'm like, who's gonna pay my medical bills? Like, I'm gonna be an adult soon. I have to pay for my own, and like I have a lot of school to go to because of the career that I chose. Um, and like I'm a little worried, I'm a little stressed sometimes, and like I'm still going through the motions, just trying to survive. Being 17 years old currently, and just dealing with a life-threatening disease while also having to become an adult. Uh, it's hard. Uh, and sometimes I do think, oh, like, what would it be like if I didn't have surgery? And what if I didn't have cancer? Like, how would I look? And how would I act? And this and this and that. Um, and I have to cope with that just being impossible. And I have to just accept what really is and what's there in front of me. I don't want to root myself in like fantasy or possibility because you never find happiness in what's not in front of you. You can have goals and aspirations, but if they're ultimately not possible, like literally not physically possible, then you're not going to be happy. And I love my flaws. I love everyone's flaws. Flaws are what make us human, and humans are beautiful. Like if we were all flawless, then we'd all be the same, and that'd be really boring. Um, but before like I end everything off, I do want to say like I'm grateful to God um, for everything that He's done for me. Like thank you so much for saving me. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to my family, my loved ones, like all my doctors, my nurses. Like thank you for just keeping me going, keeping me alive. Like just everything that you've done, all the sacrifices. Like just a couple things. Like if you want to grab a couple things from this video, one thing I want you to grasp is that pain is never eternal. Pain never lasts. Things get easier with time. Like just things will get better with the positive outlook. Like no matter how bad it seems, like it'll always there'll always be a way to be happy in turmoil. Um, and like you don't have to endlessly drive yourself into the bottom uh, with work and production and all that stuff. Like just go and live your life and enjoy it while it's there. Um, you know, thank you, all of you guys, just for watching and listening. This video is actually like almost 1.5 times longer than it was supposed to be the first time. But you know, thank you for watching. Uh, thank you for showing me support and love. Just thank you for for everything. Like thank you to me, honestly. Uh, I'm pretty strong. I would say so. All this stuff, and I'm still here. I'm still chilling. Uh, but most importantly, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for just chilling here. This listening to an hour 30 of some kid talk up to like a $40 mic. Um, Also, yeah, you guys like the new mic? It's kind of fire, right? Like, low studio esque. But thank you for watching. Before let me just stop all this chatting and let me just end it up here. But I do feel the support you guys give me. I'm motivated to keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Uh, and I'll keep you guys updated from time to time about my cancer. But I don't want it to encapsulate everything on this channel or in my life. It's honestly it's a big part of my life, but it's not something that weighs on my mind all the time. Like if I'm not actively sick, I'm usually not thinking about it, and I don't really want to be talking about it. Like I'll answer questions out of like just respect or anything, and I don't mind people being genuinely curious, but after a while it's like, all right, bro, like we don't have to talk about this all the time. This is not my entire personality. um but yeah, like uh I want to make this thing big, and I don't want it to make it about that. I want it to make it about something bigger than that. So if you guys could help me like keep growing uh from this little $40 mic in in this bedroom, and make it into something that like all people can really share and connect to, it would mean the world to me. And I do want to go back on this video maybe in like whenever I reach a certain goal, maybe like I don't know, like 1K or 10K or something, or like maybe in a year, whichever comes first. um I do want to come back on this video and just see how much I've grown, and see like what's different and what's changed and what's the same and all that. But anyway, before I keep yapping for another hour or something, um, thank you for watching. Thank you for connecting heart to heart with me today. And this is Sion signing off for the day.